So the Earned Income Tax Credit is said to be the federal government's largest refundable tax credit and has been available since 1975. During the 2020 tax year, almost 25 million eligible workers and families received more than $60 billion in federal Earned Income Tax Credit. The maximum federal credit for workers without children was previously worth $538, but it's almost tripled to around $1,500 for the 2021 tax year. The expansion has also made it clear to younger workers and older workers too, without dependent children for the first time. It means workers ages 19, 24, and 65 and older can get this payment, folks. So if you qualify for the stimulus check, be sure to claim it because you don't want to miss out on it. A lot of good news, everybody's coming for the fourth stimulus check and Social Security benefits. Be sure to continue watching this video because you don't want to miss out on it. The Biden administration has confirmed that Senate Democrat Joe Manchin is willing to pass President Biden's Build Back Better bill. Lawmakers are negotiating on what extra relief can be added to the bill, including boosting monthly benefits and fourth stimulus checks. So, Democrats are finally seeking to pass major pieces of President Biden's agenda when Congress returns this week. With high stakes for his legacy, the 2022 midterm elections are coming, and people are looking for some stimulus relief. Folks, before the Senate adjourned, Chuck Schumer said discussions of a sequel to the Build Back Better Act will actually continue and pick up the pace when they're back in session. Folks, it only makes more sense for President Biden to do this and send out more stimulus checks. If you guys agree, tell me in the comments. Chuck Schumer told reporters, "We want to get it, and look, there are lots of talks going on right now, and they're not at a great degree of granularity. And we like to move a reconciliation bill and go as far as they can." Manchin has called for a bill with three components, and that's tax reform, prescription costs, and energy. Now, higher taxes on corporations and upper earners would actually produce more revenue, and new rules cracking down on prescription prices would save the government money, and dollars from both would be split between reducing the deficit for an all-of-the-above energy plan that supports climate-focused technology and fossil fuels. Folks, taxes are more complicated and they can run into some issues with Senator Kyrsten Sinema. There are many possible versions of prescription reform too. When Democrats reach a deal on these items, the next question is whether Manchin is actually going to pass additional social spending. Raising revenue similar to the revenue in the House's Build Back Better Act could actually leave enough to fund one or more programs and still devote an equal amount to deficit reduction. To allies of Schumer, it all comes down to whether Manchin wants to get yes after he opposed negotiations late December. But the good news, everybody, is that Manchin has said he is willing to pass the Build Back Better bill, as long as the bill does not add the federal deficit. Now, even Democrats are eager to get deal done with Manchin on his own terms and have publicly wished that he would simply write his preferred bill, then vaguely refer to a possible framework for a deal. The U.S. Census Bureau reported that the number of Americans living in poverty decreased when crisis stimulus payments were factored in. The official poverty measure, which is determined by the Census Bureau, indicated that around 11.4% of Americans were living in poverty, an increase of 1 percentage point in 2020. And the increase was the first after 5 consecutive years of decline. But when looking at a more complete supplemental measure of poverty, which factored in streams of income like stimulus payments, found that the number of people in poverty actually decreased. So, in an effort to safeguard against any future recessions, senators at the White House are considering setting up automatic relief for the next time the economy takes another significant dip. Folks, I agree with this payment. Folks, I agree that President Biden should send out the fourth stimulus check. If you guys agree, tell me in the comments.
Well, nice to have you. We did this last October, I guess.
We did
as well.
It's interesting. We're on a 6-month cadence now.
We
so
are.
It's good to see.
Lots changed in those
has.
6 months. So I guess the first question, given the conversation here, is how worried are you?
Not that worried, which is ironic because I grew up in the credit business where you're taught to be worried about everything. There's a lot to think about, a lot of uncertainty around the trajectory of rates, geopolitical instability, but the reason I'm not as worried as maybe some, we have the benefit in our business to have a look at 3,000 middle market assets across the globe, and at least as we sit here today, the numbers are coming through. Revenues are up, EBITDA's up, people are passing through price increases. Mood in the boardroom is quite good. So, I think there's a lot to think about going forward, but we're coming into this rate hike cycle with a lot more, what I would say, fundamental strength and buffer in the economy than I think we're used to seeing.
So, to that point, again, credit deterioration, you're not seeing it.
Our credit portfolios are probably healthier than we've ever seen them in our 25 years.
So, all right, you walk around the halls here, not yet, but soon when it gets very crowded, it's still 7:30 in the morning. And a lot of people are being very concerned. Talk about a recession potentially even as soon as later this year, but probably 2023 if it comes, given the Fed's move. But you're not seeing any of that in the underlying credit and or even your portfolio.
And I don't want to say, I don't want to say people's hair's on fire. Recessions happen. We've got people out calling probabilities of recession, but not really talking about magnitude. I think we got to deal with information as it comes.
Some of your caucus who are saying that Clarence Thomas should resign.
I don't think he should have ever been appointed, so let me take it back to there. I do thank you for your question. I'm not going to go to that, but I will say that in our H.R. 1, our bill to have cleaner government, we have a call for the Supreme Court to have a code of ethics. They have no code of ethics. And it's the Supreme Court of the United States. They're making judgments about the air we breathe and everything else, and we don't even know what their ethical standard is. So I would like to see that bill have a hearing, not the whole bill, but taking out that piece. We've already passed the whole bill, but to focus on the Supreme Court ethics standard legislation.
Well, I'm here today to talk about the work we're doing to lower costs for American families and put rural America at the center of our efforts to build a future that's made in America. And that's not hyperbole. It's about being made in America. A lot of that has to do with this industry. I just had a chance to see the work you do here and turn more than 40 million bushels of local corn into 130 million gallons of ethanol a year. That's a lot of gallons. We want to see facilities like this all over the Midwest. Here's why. First, it supports farmers and the farm economy. Everybody thinks Delaware is a big industrial state, banking state, and DuPont. We have a $4 billion industry. It's called agriculture in Delaware. And it's mostly, we have more chickens in Delaware, broiler chickens, than you have in the entire Midwest, I think. But all kidding aside, it is a big industry in Delaware. And my state, everybody thinks is an industrial state. It's a very rural state. The largest city outside of the main city of Wilmington, Delaware, is almost 150,000 people, is 20,000 people. It's a rural state. And so we understand about getting the rural communities engaged and being able to make it generally. And all that corn in the silos is from farmers within 60 miles of here. Knowing you have a buyer gives farmers something they don't often have: peace of mind, certitude about where their product can be sold and to get a fair price for it. Second, it creates good paying jobs. It's estimated there are over 400,000 jobs directly and indirectly supported by this industry nationwide. There's a lot of people. That's a lot. And a lot of paychecks, and good, decent paychecks. Third, it reduces our